Hello everybody, welcome to albums of the next year discussion. We're discussing 2024 albums, pretty much stuff that have been confirmed and stuff that's possibly happening. Basically, possibly has a good chance, but it's no confirmation, so I'm not going to just assume that we're getting it, because we might be disappointed if that's what we're doing. But I am joined by SoullessWindow in this discussion video. We have got a list for the confirmed and a list for the possible. So, should we start off with the confirmed list first?
Might as well. I think.
So the top one I put because this one's got the most information out of every album I know at this point. This is Normandie Dopamine, which some people might not know who Normandie is, but I'm not surprised because they're kind of a band that could go mainstream but haven't really had that yet. But Normandie have released 5 singles now. Sixth one is coming very soon in about 5 days, so that's going to be another one coming out because they've been releasing a single every month. But new Normandie album, what do you reckon from it?
I don't know. I think it'll probably be pretty nice, pretty good. I've liked some of the singles, like God, I can't remember any of the names though. What's that one with that feature?
The Bury
Hourglass.
Tomorrow feature, Hourglass. It has lead singer, the unclean vocalist Danny from Bury Tomorrow, which is interesting.
I like that one.
Yeah, that's probably the strongest one. I do like Blood in the Water as well. I think Blood in the Water is probably like the safe bet. It feels the most like their kind of natural sound they're going for. Flowers of the Grave's also quite a good one. I feel the last 2 singles aren't quite as good, but that does sometimes happen. The more like singles you have, you won't be fond of the newer ones necessarily. But I'm looking forward to still any other single. I'm not looking forward to the fact that we're getting 4 new songs in 7 singles though.
Yes, I thought it was like that like almost half the album? It's quite a lot.
Like they released half the album for Dark and Beautiful Secrets. This is over half, like definitely over half. I mean, I appreciate the idea because it kind of gives you something to look forward to every month. It's like a little Normandy advent calendar towards the album, and I think that's a cool thing. But at the same time, you've basically heard the whole album before it comes out. But I imagine with the new Normandy one, it'll still be pretty good. If the rest of the songs hold up like most of the singles do, I don't think we have a bad album to look forward to from Normandy. Maybe not album of the year, but I think it's going to be interesting nonetheless. And that wraps that up from Normandy. Moving on to the second one, Bloody Hell spent only 3 minutes. That's not too bad. It is like more of a podcasty video, this one, so there's less editing. But
yeah, we're just rambling.
just rambling about stuff that you probably know anyway. Well, not the obscure stuff, but the more out there stuff probably. So we got the new one by Deftones, which is confirmed to come out next year, and I believe it's confirmed to come out in the first quarter or second quarter. I think it's coming out in the first half of the year. That's all I know.
Alright, yeah.
Which will be good. We have I can't remember the guy's name, but we have the same producer as Diamond Eyes and Koino Yokan for Deftones, so that's already got me hyped because those, in my opinion, are the 2 most consistent albums from the band and go back to back really nicely. So we might be getting a third album with more of the, I guess, small shoegaze elements as well as pushing more of that ethereal sounds that those 2 albums carry. What do you think about this?
Yeah, that would definitely be cool. They are for sure great albums. So I don't really see it going wrong personally, but I don't know. We'll see.
People crapped on OMENS, which I actually thought was a really good album, but that's
OMENS is fun.
Yeah, OMENS is a good album. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I feel like the songs aren't, not all of them are top tier Deftones, but again, I don't think there's literally, to me, the only album with that is Diamond Eyes, where everything could be considered top tier. So I wouldn't really worry about that too much, especially since I don't know. I just have a good hunch they will never make a low like Gore for at least some time, so as long as it's better than Gore.
I think people give it a lot of shit for no reason. Well, no, I mean, there's reason, but like, I don't know. I just think it's not quite as bad as a lot of people say. I think it definitely does have some really good songs, and for the most part, aside from like maybe like Xenon, I think like
Yeah,
most of the
Xenon.
albums are completely fine. Xenon's
Xenon,
just not very
Piturin
fun. But
Formante. Um,
that one's fine. I
Piturin
don't really.
Formante's got like a good start, but then I think like it doesn't really carry some great ideas towards the end. I find it to be a song I enjoy the first half, and a song I just kind of don't really care for around the second half. Pretty much like the album, where there's not really
Yeah.
much I like in the second half, and then Rubicon's pretty much the only reason I would go through the entire album, because it is like the probably the best song on the album. But as long as it's
Yeah, it
better
is a
than
great
Gore,
song.
like Gore's still good, but I want an album. Hell, if it beats Ohms, that'll be even better, because Ohms is probably still one
Yeah.
of their weakest. But it's just because Deftones have a lot of strong albums, so that's not really saying much.
Mm.
But that'll be good. I'm looking
Mm.
forward to it. They do the every 4 year thing since Koino Yokan. 4 year wait for Gore, 4 year wait for Ohms, 4 year wait for this, pretty much. But I have hopes this will be a good album. But although I will miss Sergio's involvement with the band.
Yeah, it's sad to see what happened with Sergio for sure.
It's just a bit of an out of pocket experience.
Yeah.
Moving on to KORN, they have announced a new album next year. Unless I read it wrong, that's pretty much what I read from this, and I'm looking forward to a new KORN album. I think it's a little bit too soon. I don't know why, because I guess it's because Requiem came out near the start of 2022, and it's going to be the start of 2024. But we've already heard a bunch of this album, not a bunch, but heard a bunch about the album. But I'm looking forward to it still. I feel like KORN's kind of, I feel like Jonathan Davis especially has been like getting back more on track with KORN and the way he really wants it to go, because the Nothing I kind of felt was the problem with considering what was the album about. I'm not saying that the album's bad, 'cause it's actually one of my favorites, but the Nothing was definitely a dark point for KORN, and
Yeah.
Requiem was a much better place. But I'm looking forward to seeing what unique ideas they come up with, because I'm pretty sure we might get something similar to like Serenity or some of the older stuff, or maybe like something brand new that's experimented again.
Yeah, no, it'd definitely be really cool. To I don't know, see what Van goes in. God, I can't stumble them. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you want me to say. Corn will be good. I mean,
Yeah,
come on,
cool.
like they pretty much usually always are.
They normally go on track. If they're going to experiment, I don't think they will in the same way they did with the kind of City on the Other Side down to the Path of Totality. Because when it came to like
Yeah,
that experimentation, that did leave some mixed reception. But I feel like KORN always wants to. For some reason, like the last few albums, they feel very different from each other, but they also feel like KORN. So I feel like if they just experiment in that way, that would probably be really good. I'm not looking for KORN's best material on this album, because I highly doubt it'll be their best record. But as long as it's a good one, like same with Deftones, I think that's all that we need basically.
yeah. I think as long as it's fun, then all you got to complain about at the end of the day.
I'm curious if Fieldy comes back for it, but knowing in the process, I don't think he's. I definitely have a, like, no doubt he won't be on it because of the his hiatus. So I don't think he's going to be on the album, but I hope he comes back.
Yeah, I mean, he's a staple part of Corn at this point, really. So it'd be weird having an album without him, to be honest. But
Yeah, because even Requiem had him in despite he left before Requiem release, but he just wasn't on like the
yeah,
music videos. But yeah, that's for KORN. Moving on to the next one we have is SPIRITBOX. It's pretty much confirmed that there is a SPIRITBOX album coming out 2024, which is weird because we've had the debut album Eternal Blue, which is amazing.
yeah,
That's in my top 3 albums of 2021. That is a really good debut. Then we had the Rotoscope EP for 2022. It's only 3 songs, but they were good. They weren't quite as good as Eternal Blue, but they were good. And then we had the Fear of Fear EP, which I reviewed, which is really good.
yeah, that is
Probably the
amazing.
best release they've ever done. So I'm looking forward to this new album and seeing how it goes. But I imagine it's going to be a very late in the year release, because There's no way they're gonna release a bloody album in a few months.
Yeah, that'd be kind of crazy. It would be cool, but it'd be like a bit, huh?
I guess maybe they kept some of the ideas away, but I feel like if they're gonna do that, they're just gonna power through this. I guess like this whole sound. Either they've collected some of the ideas and saved the songs or something for an album. Because the Rotoscope EP only had like 3 songs. I assume they probably wrote more, and some of those songs might be on the album. I don't know. It's just spitballing ideas. But I am very curious about a full length album from the band. Could be 8 tracks to be fair if they've been releasing a bunch of EPs, especially since they've even been releasing EPs before the album came out, because you had like the singles collection, and I can't remember what the EP is with the Mara Effect, and might be the EP name, but I know there's the Mara Effect is like 1 or 2 songs on this EP with a bunch of other tracks. But I still look forward to SPIRITBOX. Yeah, I hope it's good old classic bangers from Courtney and the boys.
Yeah, no, I don't have any doubt it'll be good shit.
And who knows, maybe they might get another Grammy-nominated song from that album.
Yeah, that'd be fucking cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah, there you go, some good old stuff. But moving on to Caligula's Horse, the new album Charcoal Grace. I will quickly talk about this one because I can definitely tell you have SoullessWindow has not listened to this one. Because
no, I have no idea what Caligula's Horse is.
Caligula's Horse is a progressive metal band, and I like their album In Contact. A lot of people have praised it, and I'm not surprised. It's a good album. And this new album, I'm not going to really have much to say. So this one is coming out very soon, so I'm going to keep my opinions limited here, because it literally comes out in January. So I'm going to be reviewing this one when it comes out. But all I'm going to say is I'm not really big on the lead single. That's the only thing I'm going to say, but, you know, we'll have to just see how that whole album holds up. It could be good. It might be just the lead single not being strong, but I think some of the vocal ideas they have on it is interesting, at least to say. But we'll just have to see how it goes and see if they release one of the best albums. But I don't know. Caligula's Horse, in my opinion, they haven't released a good album since In Contact, like in terms of being really strong. But I'll skip to the next one, because now you can actually join in the discussion, because we're talking about Fear Factory.
Yeah.
Something you're more familiar with.
Yeah, for sure. I do actually know a few albums by the Fear Factory.
I believe this one's confirmed. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel... I'm just going to say it's confirmed, but take it with a pinch of salt, because it might change. Sometimes they'll say it and it won't, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be, I imagine it's going to be one of the most different albums from Fear Factory, since it is literally a new lead singer.
Yeah, it's the first album without, was it Burton C. Bell, who was the OG lead singer.
Burton is a great vocalist, and I'm curious to see how the new guy sounds on studio, because seeing him live, he does make it work, so it could work studio. But the main thing I'm always interested in, as long as it just has that aggression, just that fun, just the industrial new metal sound. That's all I really... Well, they kind of ditched the industrial new metal. It's just industrial now. New metal has been gone for a while from their sound, I think. It's been more experimental, so I'm liking it. But yeah, we'll see. I'm definitely waiting for a new Fear Factory album, and seeing how modern Fear Factory holds up to, or this new album holds up to, some of the classics like Obsolete or Malfunction, or oh no, there's not an album called Malfunction. Demanufacture, I want meant, and Digimortal, some of the classic stuff. But yeah, let's move to KILLSWITCH Engage. I'm less familiar with this one, so do you want to take the... So, well, I'm just going to say they have a new album coming out 2024. Now, what are you hoping for this album? Because I don't really know much about this band as you.
I mean, what I'd be hoping for from a new KILLSWITCH album, I don't really know. Because obviously they've been sort of like, at least like Jesse Leach, the like lead vocalist, has sort of been like going slightly or a bit further away from like, you know, the older like screamy metalcore sound that the band used to be, even when he was like the lead singer, what, the first two albums? Because he used to like really scream and shit, and now it's I mean, not that he doesn't, but he just doesn't do it as much anymore. He
Because Atonement, like, yeah, the album's Atonement, right? Alan took it back a bit. Like,
yeah,
they're still screaming. On tracks like Unleashed, you can hear it, or like some of the other stuff has
yeah,
it, but it's definitely a lot more tame. I feel like a lot of bands that have been kind of really heavy on the harsh vocals have kind of been toning it down. Around
yeah. I
this
think it
point.
probably is something to do with like vocal problems, which can arise obviously if you don't get training. Which I don't know, maybe Jesse Leach did have training before he started doing his vocals. I would probably guess not, just considering. But I think also as well, it's just because like obviously when Howard Jones was in the band, he didn't scream and shout like as much necessarily. So I think that sort of might have had an influence.
I think Howard Jones have been like kind of been the staple change in their sound, I reckon, from that. But it does happen. I mean, it might be an age thing as well because it does happen with
Oh yeah,
age sometimes. Because I mean, look at even bands like Slipknot. I'm not saying it's necessarily an age problem, but Slipknot have definitely gone softer on the vocals for a while now. At least Corey Taylor have. I know he won't ever do vocals like Iowa, purely because of the method. But even stuff on like Volume 3 and All Hope Is Gone had some really. Maybe not All Hope Is Gone as much, but Volume 3 still had some really harsh stuff, and that was around the point
yeah,
where he was working around it. But then a lot of it was had softer vocals as well, so he kind of had a more balanced dynamic. So it kind of makes sense. But I could see him doing a heavier album than Atonement, to be honest, on this new one.
yeah. I would say instrumentally probably could be heavier. I would think it'd be cool if it was a bit heavier, to be fair. And maybe like I don't know, have some more. I don't know. I don't want to be rude when I say this, but there were definitely a few songs that sort of came across a bit like they were fun, but they did come across a little like generic in terms of their lyrics and stuff. I think like By the Hand That Feeds, that one's good. I do like it, but the lyrics are sort of like I don't know exactly what you'd expect from the song By the Hand That Feeds.
Self-explanatory
Well, I think it's
lyrics.
from that album. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, By the Hand
I
That
don't
Feeds is from Atonement.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
So yeah, but I think no, I think it will probably still be quite strong. I do like Atonement a good bit actually, from not really having much of an opinion on it for like a good few years after first listening to it.
well, the
So
B-sides
it's
were
fun.
pretty good. I like the B-side album, or like the little B-side EP. They were quite fun, not gonna lie. I
Yeah.
felt like the B-sides probably should have been its own album because they had some really good ideas with them. I don't know why.
For
I just
sure.
prefer the B-sides to the actual album. It's weird, but it does sometimes happen. It
Just one
gets
of those things, I guess.
pretty good bangers on there. But yeah, moving on to Ailstorm. This one is the
Hailstorm.
only EP on the list because I want to talk about Ailstorm, and I think one of my bands I really want to review is Ailstorm, but I started reviews in 2023 and the last album came out 2022, so we haven't got an album, but we have an
Hooray.
EP, and I'm going to be reviewing that. I am looking forward to that, but I'm curious why it's an EP all of a sudden because they never really did EPs. They released standalone singles, like it's normally pirate versions of covers. Like you had a proper Wellerman cover of Ailstorm. You have stuff like In the Navy. As long as it fits their brand, they'll do a lot like that. Like
Yeah.
You Are a Pirate. Just all these covers, but I'm curious what this EP's going for. Maybe it's bringing back some of the classic sounds of the earlier stuff like Captain Morgan's Revenge or Black Sails at Midnight. Maybe we're kind of getting some of the older classic sound. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I suppose if they haven't said much about it, you can't really know. I could also imagine it maybe being just like some ideas that they didn't put on Seventh Rum or the Seventh Rum, and they're sort of being like, here, have this.
Seventh Run was
But you
made
never know.
quite quickly, so they probably, if they did like Spitfire a bunch of stuff out, maybe that might be it. Because I remember when the Curse of Crystal Coconut came out. Later on in the year, they already announced they will write. They already announced ideas for the next album, had the name, and had some songs planned already. So I feel like Seventh From is kind of like the sequel. So maybe it might be something like that, or it might be something new. But either way, I am looking forward to new ALESTORM. It's one of my like early bands I'd listened to, so so it definitely makes sense why I look forward to it. But yeah, just a quick little thing I wanted to add onto the list, some Pirates metal. Moving to Bring Me the Horizon, Posthuman Next Gen, which has been in, I guess, what I like to call development hell for a little while, where we've had the first single back in 2021, and we had the second single, 2022, the third single, 2023, as well as the fourth and fifth, which, when you release more singles, you think something's coming, but with the announcement of Jordan Fish, I believe his name is, leaving the band, I don't know if it's on good terms or not, I'm just going to say he left the band. It's probably one of the reasons it's been delayed, because the album was supposed to come out September 29th, 2023, and I was going to review it, but it looks like it might be a 2024 release. There's no way they'll delay it any more than that, so got a new Bring Me the Horizon one, and this one's going, I guess, more for power pop punk mixed with emo. So how do you feel about like this direction they're going for?
I don't know. I thought Dark Side was cool, but I don't even think I remember any of the other songs. I think I've listened to a few of the other singles. They had one with like a few collabs, right? I remember that.
Yeah, the Amen. It had Lil Uzi Vert.
Yeah, that one was actually pretty good.
That one was good. That's like probably the most their. Oh god, losing my head now. Probably the most familiar to their sound, I guess. I guess the oh god, lost the words. Probably the most familiar to their metalcore like sound of like Sempiternal. Because it does have a lot of that energy. It's unique as well. I like the idea. Kind of reminds me of when Gorillaz does the collabs, but they still have like elements that kind of reminds me of like Demon Days, even though they're always going for something different every time. Kind of gives me like that nostalgia for Amen's great, and so's Dark Side, but I haven't really found the other singles to be quite as good. But there's a new song they've kind of showed a teaser for, which might be coming out soon. Kool-Aid. It looks really heavy, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm very surprised if that's the other mix of it, if they're going to bring back some of this more harsh stuff, but I don't know. I am looking forward to it nonetheless. This series of, they're called, I guess, EPs, but they're more so, I'm just going to call them albums, because they're literally the length of a full album. If they're like 9 tracks, that might be an EP to some, but that still feels like an album. They're going to do 4, I think, and the third one, I don't know if this is just rumoured or not, it probably might be a more electronic one, and the last one, people reckon, might be more like bringing some sort of sound from Count Your Blessings and Suicide Season, which would be insane.
That would be crazy if they went back to like, I'd probably guess it would be something more closer to like There Is a Hell or Suicide Season than Count Your Blessings, but I don't know, you never know.
I feel
it would be cool to see like deathcore just fucking brought back randomly.
If they do bring that, that'll be awesome to like. Imagine that's the end of Bring Me the Horizon, and they end it on like something like deathcore, like, or very heavy metalcore. I think that would probably be like a really good like full circle, because it shows how diverse their discography is. And I'm not saying all of it's for the better, because Amo's alright in my opinion, and I find I just don't really think they've had a really good album since Sempiternal, so it'll be nice to kind of bring back some of that stuff, but still, it could be good. I personally don't like all the singles, some of them I don't like, but it might be a good album, or release all the way through, so we'll just have to see. But
who knows?
Going into the next, we have The Smile Wall of Eyes. So, for those who don't know, The Smile is the side project of, I don't know if it's just Tom York or other people, but it's basically like a spin-off of Radiohead, and it's interesting. I don't know any songs by him, so just thought I'd mention it, because I don't really know what The Smile sounds like, but I can assume it has a similar dreary tone to Radiohead. I don't know. Moving on to P.O.D. Veritas. I don't even know how you pronounce that, to be honest.
Uh,
The word that's on the
yeah, I
screen.
don't know. I'm dumb. I'm not gonna pretend like I know shit like
The word on the screen, that's the one. Honestly, this is probably going to be the most interesting P.O.D. album
Sorry.
I've ever, probably would ever listen to be honest. It's insane that we're getting some of the heaviest P.O.D. stuff, while it also does feel like P.O.D. And there's a lot of features on this one. We've only had 2 singles, and both of them have features. We had the first track, Drop, with Randy Bliff from Lamb of God, and that was great. I love the energy on that one, and I think it sounds sick. And it... oh, voice crack. And then we have Afraid to Die, which has the lead singer of Ginger, and I love it. I think the clash with some of these like heavier artists is what's making me more interested in this P.O.D. sound, because I've never heard anything from modern P.O.D., but I imagine this probably might be one of their best records. We'll have to see if it follows through on the full album, but this one's good. There's no release date, but there is a confirmation it's coming out this year. So
Yeah,
that's all we need to know. But yeah, looking forward.
P.O.D. has always been fun. So yeah, at least as far as I know, I've already listened to 2 albums, but you know, I'm sure it will be good. We can hope.
We're going into our first double album, Sum 41's final release, Heaven X Hell, nominated for the worst album of 2024 already. This is a very interesting release. So they've released 1 song from the Heaven batch, I believe, and 1 song from the Hell batch. I don't know which side which, but Landmines, the lead single, I think this is from the Heaven side, is pretty good. It feels like classic Sum 41. It has some great energy to it, and it's honestly quite a catchy song. Love it. And the second one, which I don't even remember the name, I've listened to it a few times and I didn't really care much. It's kind of a bit meh, but still, it could be a good album. It's the final one, so I always have like a lot more of that. Oh shit, this is like their final thing. It might be really good, like kind of factor into it, but it could also change, to be honest. We'll just have to see if it holds up. But it's going to be really interesting nonetheless. This is the final thing from Sum 41. And I wasn't really expecting them to depart, but seeing what they said about it being like, oh, I think the band's kind of not really got much more music in them than this, it kind of makes sense if they want to quit. But that's coming out in March, I believe, and it'll be a good album. It could be a really good send-off, to be honest, but I don't know if it'll be... I don't think it will be their best album, to be honest.
I don't know, maybe not. I can't say I've listened... What have I listened to? Sum 41, what was it? All Killer No Filler and Does This Look Infected, which is like sort of their older stuff, I believe. So I can't say much of modern Sum 41, but hope it will be good, yeah. Especially since it's their last release, you'd hope they'd be able to get on a band.
Yeah, well, some bands don't do that, because let's look at Godsmack. Their final album was, in my opinion, terrible. But, I mean, to be fair, Godsmack has just never really been the best band out there, and Sum 41's had some good hits, so Sum 41 I can definitely say already this album is going to be better than Godsmack's finale, but it's still going to be very interesting nonetheless, but we'll just have to see how it goes. Moving on to SEETHER, which... This one, I guess we heard nothing from SEETHER for a while other than Sean Morgan has had a kid. So I think that's kind of delayed it a bit, because we were definitely due a new album this year, but we didn't get anything. So I think the band's working on it, and I think we're going to get some releases very soon from it. So it's definitely coming out for 2024, I believe the band's mentioned. And I'm looking forward to it. I know SEETHER doesn't have the best rep out there, but I really have... had quite a blast with the latest record, CV Pass and Parabellum. It's probably one of their best releases in a while, but I don't think anything will top Disclaimer or Karma and Effect. But what if this new album does? What do you reckon?
Yeah, one can hope it will be as good as yeah, I can't be able to say that name, but the newest album.
CV Pass and Parabellum. There you go, I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
I probably butchered that as well. I don't think I've ever pronounced it right. Someone will probably mention... someone, like, one day will probably hear me say that and just say that's not how you pronounce it, but I don't care. It's not... I'm bad at pronouncing anything that's not English, so I should get the exception. But yeah, New Zealand will be really good. I think it'll be the last album from this trilogy. I think because they've signed on. I think they signed on to like a 3-album trilogy thing, and it's even got the same artist, I believe. Because when they changed their logo for Poison the Parish, that was the first of the trilogy, and CV Parsum does stick quite closely to. In some of the ideas, sticks very closely to Poison the Parish, and I honestly do hope if it's gonna do that, we do get some like I guess some variety, because I'm worried if we get some of the weaker stuff. Not weaker stuff, but I just don't want to hear a song that sounds like Poison the Parish on the album either, because Bruised and Bloody, Dead and Done, the first 2 tracks just to me just sounds like Poison the Parish. So I hope we get some mixture of maybe some songs that sound like Zifi Passum, or maybe something new. Honestly, I would rather have something new, because they've released a deluxe album as well as like the EP. There's been so many new songs, or bonus songs for it. I think I'm a bit worn out of that sound, so I would like to hope they have some new ideas. Maybe if they go for something heavy it would be cool, but we'll just have to see if that happens. Oh my god, 30 minutes in and we haven't got to the possiblies yet. Judas Priest, Invincible Shield. I know you haven't listened to Judas Priest, so I'll quickly do this one.
I have not.
I liked Firepower. I think Firepower is one of their best records in ever, to be honest. It's fun, it's just a wild ride, and it's a band from quite a while ago, from like kind of the 80s, that have been bringing just a lot of fun to their sound. Basically, they have a lot of energy. They're pretty interesting. Breaking the Law's an iconic song, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Firepower's good. If this album is better than Firepower, that'd be pretty good. And last on the confirmed, we have Green Day, Saviors. And now, what's your opinion on the latest album at the moment, Father of All? Because I know my opinion, but I'm curious what yours is.
I mean, I think to put it just, short and simple, I thought it was a bit shit, to be honest with you. I just couldn't get into any of the songs. They had like this weird like poppy style to it as well, which I didn't really enjoy, and then they had like country influence in there, I swear, as well, in some of those, and like some of the later songs, I think. And God, I could barely stand to listen to that shit. I listened to it on YouTube, and I think I had it on like 1.5 speed the whole time.
That probably helped a bit. It probably made it like 8 minutes long.
Yeah, to be fair, I will give it this. At least you don't have to spend ages listening to it. It's just a like short listen.
Yeah, I'm glad none of the songs are like over 4 minutes, because that's a terrible album in my opinion. The sound is dreadful. It just feels like the stuff you hear in a car advert, when they literally that. And one of my favourite comments I saw someone describing it is, it just feels like one long Google Chrome ad. And that's like the most. It's like the unskippable Google Chrome ads. It just feels like you're listening to that. It's an album that I just don't understand how anyone could not say it's the worst. It, like, even if you don't like the early sound, even if you don't like Revolution Radio or Uno Dos Tres, this is the worst thing they've ever done. I mean, it has American Idiot graffitied on the album art. I knew it would be terrible. But Saviors, I 100% will guarantee it will be better, because while I think The American Dream Is Killing Me is a pretty average song with very questionable lyrics, I don't think it's the worst thing they've done. I didn't really care for Look Mom, No Hands, because I don't remember anything from it. It's kind of boring. And Dilemma is actually a pretty good song, so I think it's going to be a mixed album, I reckon, but maybe I think I'll take a mixed album over a Father of All, to be honest. And there we have it, the confirmed. It's 34 minutes in, and now we're going through the possibly list, which I think is longer. So, is it longer? No, it's roughly, yeah, just maybe a little bit, but it's roughly the same. So, starting off, we have STARSET. This one is quite likely, but there's no confirmation, so I didn't put in confirmation. We know what the sound is, though. I am looking forward to space coming back. I'm looking forward to loads more strings, because it's always been a huge staple to their sound, basically, being a cinematic hard rock band with a space rock kind of aesthetic to it. And then you have kind of something for Transmissions fans. If you like the first album, you'll like this new one, basically. But it's probably going to be quite different. I feel like it's going to be a whole restart. It's a whole new story as well, because they pretty much wrapped up the whole first 4 album story arc. And now we've got to see what the next 4 albums will be like. But I really enjoyed Vessels from the first story, and I would like to see something that has like the heaviness of Vessels, but maybe more of the classic hard rock from Transmissions. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I have not been this hyped for StarSet ever, to be honest, because while I did enjoy Divisions and Horizons, they're very different from like the usual sound, so I guess not everyone's cup of tea. But looking forward to new StarSet nonetheless. It'll be your favourite album of the year. I'm calling it now, album of the year 2024 StarSet for you. That'll be your favourite album of the year.
Yeah, you know me, biggest StarSet fan of all time.
Yeah, see.
I love the band, what was it, all 4 Dustin Bates probably put a lot of work into it.
So next we have the new, a new possible new album by VOLA. So a lot of people might not know who VOLA is, but VOLA is a progressive metal band from Denmark, one Swede, and it is, and they've been just banging after banging on albums. The first 3 albums, In Mazes, Applause, Distant Crowd, Witness, are absolutely spectacular. There's a trilogy of just non-stop entertainment, and I'm looking forward to what this new album has. We only have 1 single so far, being Paper Wolf, and it is a good song. It's not the strongest song, and I don't think it gives quite a clear direction of what we're to expect for the new album, but maybe it might be a 1-track thing and everything else is very different. We'll have to see. But with how good the last VOLA album's been, I have no doubt that this will be an incredible album from the band. What do you reckon?
What do I think? Yeah, I mean, yeah, VOLA has just really come out of nothing but just amazing stuff. Probably, I feel like ever since Monsters, even their second EP.
Yep.
That was really great, and I don't think they've ever really gone downhill or anything since. I do have high hopes for this album, I will say.
I have seen a lot more of the prog metal fans prefer the more gent sound of their discography, and I feel like to expect the same gent sound is kind of not why you'd listen to it, because Vola's already defined their sound through Monsters, and I feel the sounds there, it's not gent. Gent's just kind of where they started and based it from. If we had more of like the songs like In Mazes, I think that would be sick, but I like the variety. Every album being so different is what I like about it. Because Witness brings back the prog metal, but it's not even gent. It's more like in adding electronic elements to it, and even a little bit of new metal if you're going to count the little feature with Shaman on These Black Claws. But we'll have to see what this new album does. I think from what was said about it, we might get a song, or I guess like a album that they're trying to be inspired by some of the like 90s, 80s stuff, because they were inspired by more of the older classic stuff to Paper Wolf. So it might be Vola trying to blend in like all eras or something, which will be interesting for this new album, but we'll have to see. All I know is I think we're getting it this year, but there's no confirmation on that. Yeah, with Vola releasing bangers, who else? Mastodon might have an album out, and I think that would be really good. I've been looking forward to Mastodon. Their last album was 2021, Hushed and Grim, it's a good album. Probably my least favorite of the ones I've listened to because I haven't listened to all of it. But with amazing albums like Crack the Sky, Leviathan, Once More Around the Sun, and Emperor of Sand, they've had such a great discography that I honestly am looking forward to this new album. It's not confirmed, but they have talked about the album process, so we might get it next year. Might be 2025. We'll have to see. But I don't know. I know I'm a sucker for Emperor of Sand, but I really want to have something similar to that. Honestly.
Yeah, for sure. I've listened to a few albums from them. They're all really great, of course. But yeah, no, I don't see why would be anything less but great, as Mastodon usually is always pumping out that good shit, you know.
Because Mastodon's great. Because Emperor of Sand and like Once More Around the Sun are a bit more melodic, I guess, in terms of their classic sound, and that's what I like is the blends. And then you have Crack the Sky and Leviathan, which are the ones I know, and they're less melodic and focus more on like kind of the sound of, or just more like I guess heavy in terms of that aesthetic. They're kind of going for something a little bit more heavy, don't really build the melodic, but Mastodon has just managed to find a really good balance with the last releases, especially. So I think this will be a really sick album. I'm definitely looking forward to new Mastodon. And when it comes coming back to a band that changes their sound a lot, similar to what VOLA do, we have Thornhill with a potential new album next year. Thornhill, a big change. They went from the Dark Pool. No, they went from the EPs, which kind of was what the Dark Pool like expanded upon, which I like the EPs and I like Dark Pool. Dark Pool is one of my favorite albums of 2019. It is so nice that I managed to find a band before they kind of garnished quite a bit of attention in the metalcore scene, and I really enjoyed it.
I heard them before we were cool.
Yeah, I liked them before they copied Muse and Deftones. But the new Heroine's very interesting. It is absolutely not what you expect from the band, but it happened, and I guess Thornhill was just trying to work in every single area they can, because Viper Room to me kind of feels like it has some of the softer elements from Heroine, but it's going for something less like Muse, Loaf, and Loathe, not Loaf, I don't know why I call it Loaf. Something like Muse, Loathe, Deftones. It's going for something more. I don't know, to me it feels like Royal Blood mixed with Queens of Stone Age. I don't know if that's just me though.
What on Viper Room?
Yeah.
It was quite a bit different from Heroine, I'll say.
It's so different.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I will say that like I feel like the Dark Pool was a bit more of like a sound more so original to Thornhill, I guess.
Yeah.
I can't really feel like I could name any of the band that quite sounds like they do on Dark Pool. Obviously, you can have like the Deftones comparison on like
Heroine.
Heroine, yeah.
But like, I see what you mean, because like the Dark Pool sound has been more expanded upon. It was their debut record. It was a sound that the XY and I think Butterflies, I think those are the two EPs. It's what those kind of like started, and the Dark Pool just continued on with a more fresh sound of it, and I like that. But then Casanova released, and don't get me wrong, Casanova is still a really good track, but the sound that Thornhill had was the best sound they had, and I kind of wish they knew that, because it feels like maybe they're not happy writing the stuff they did originally, but it just feels like an entirely new band just took over.
Yeah, I think it's like a case of wanting to like change and stuff, and not really want to stay in the same place, which I can understand. But I feel like them doing that, not to like so on, because I do enjoy Heroin quite a lot, to be fair. But I feel like they've certainly they've looked to these other bands for inspiration, and that's cool. But I think they like, I don't know, they. I just don't think it's like quite as original as perhaps it could be. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
No, I don't think it's so original, to be honest. I do. I think I will always miss the dark, because hearing the dark pool for the first time was insane. I didn't really like the idea of approach of finding small bands, because I normally just end up getting the same thing. But Thornhill was so unique when I first listened to Dark Pool. I waited for the album to come out and it was insane, but I don't know. I feel like they're trying to do what VOLA are doing, make a new album that's very different every time. They want to have a different sound, so they don't feel like they're doing the same thing. And I respect that, because honestly, not everyone wants to have the just do the same thing. They want to be so experimented and so free in their sound. But VOLA made it work because they had their sound that it blends to different stuff. But this new album, or the new stuff from Thornhill, just it feels like a completely different idea. And I didn't see bands like VOLA doing that. I didn't see them like kind of losing what made them sound like they do. It just feels like Thornhill's gone less from like prog metalcore to, I don't know, just more alt metal inspired by the bands we mentioned. But I mean, this new record, I am curious what the overall sound would be if we heard Viper Room.
Yeah. I don't know. I still think it has a chance to be interesting. And is maybe they will, like come out with something that's a bit more, I don't know, a bit less inspired by other bands, I guess. But we'll see.
Well, I got one more thing to mention about Thornhill before we change to the next band. They have stated this is the heaviest album they released, and I really doubt that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
Viper
well,
Room is
so
one of the softest songs they've released. Maybe in terms like fast-paced energy, but I don't see how modern Thornhill could call it the heaviest they've released when the Dark Pool exists. Maybe the next single might be all screamy, but there's just so much heavy energy in the EPs and the debut album that's pretty much. I even feel Heroin might be a heavier record. I don't know, honestly. We'll have to see, but I don't see how it's going to be the heaviest album they put out. I know when bands say it, it's bollocks. Slipknot says, "Oh, this is the heaviest album we've released yet." This is like Iowa, and I don't think We Are Not Your Kind sounds anywhere close to Iowa in terms of heavy. You don't have to promote it as the heaviest thing because people won't buy it. They know it won't be.
yeah, sure.
It's just a bad marketing scheme. But moving on from Thornhill, we have Northlane. This is possible, but I'm not 100% going on the fact we will be getting it. We had an album last year, and Obsidian was kind of mixed reviews, I think. I haven't listened to the album properly. I've listened to a few songs, and it's fine, but I kind of miss the sound of, I guess, Alien. I did like that one more. But the new single, Dante, which might be a standalone single, I would really like that for the album because I think the instrumentation is amazing and I like the heavy energy. Not the heavy energy, I like how the song has got like that heavy energy but it's quite soft as well. I think that'll be a cool direction for Northlane. If bands want to go softer, that's the kind of idea they have because it just gives you goosebumps listening to Dante. But new Northlane might be interesting. We'll just have to see. Basically, we don't really know.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I barely know anything about Northlane's. I can't speak too much to that.
That's fine. I'll change subject quickly before going on too long. Gojira. Yes,
Gojira.
So we've got more confirmation on new Gojira. This might have been a few months ago, to be fair. But the album's going to be heavier than Fortitude, which I'm gonna 100% assume because Fortitude felt like it was made to be a bit softer. But Fortitude's still really good. It's definitely one of my top Gojira albums from what I listened to. I just like the vibe on there. The aesthetic of the tribal aspect is what made it really cool, and I think Fortitude's amazing. I feel even just Magma, something like Magma would be great to have as well. If we have something like From Mars to Sirius, I will fucking love that because the album is great. But every Gojira album, from what I've heard and from what I listened to, has been great. They're like, in a way, Mastodon in terms of they have a sound, and when they want to change it, they don't lose the core aspect they need to keep it going. So I feel with Mastodon Gojira, they're just two of the best, like some of the best metal bands going, just purely because of just because they managed to keep what made them feel what's true to their sound. I'm looking forward to new Gojira for sure. What's your opinion? What do you reckon the new Gojira could be like though?
It's gonna be awful. It's gonna be shit. Like how.
No, kidding. Yeah, no, I think it's obviously they've come out with a lot of good stuff. So you know, and if it's going to be heavier than bloody what was it,
Fortitude
thingy, which wasn't it's not like it wasn't heavy anyway. So I think it'll be.
Nah, you still have some good tracks like Into the Storm. Still showed that they had like that kind of heavier, harsher tone to it, but Gojira is just fucking killing it, and that album's great. So looking forward to, honestly, new Gojira will be insane. I'll appreciate that. We might get a new Don Broco album. They're kind of due around this point for one. I feel like the only people that really know Don Broco will always be the Brits because just the term of the writing of it. They've never really achieved huge success outside of the US, but I feel like if anyone was to know them from the US, it's purely got to be because Papa Roach literally did a tour with them.
Oh yeah, that was fun. We actually went to see that.
Insane tour. Autumn Night, and honestly, might even get a new Papa Roach album. I know it's too late for a new Papa Roach or too soon, because we had an album from them last year, but yeah, I'm looking forward to new Don Broco. Don Broco seems to be changing their sound from what it was, being a more, I guess I don't know what the whole sound is. They're normally like an alternative, like, pop rock band that's now shifting more to adding post-hardcore, maybe I don't know, post-hardcore sound with a lot of heavier, more hard rock basically, and I'm liking that with it. I think Don Broco's Amazing Things is an insanely good album. Love it or hate it. I love the heavy aesthetic on it. Fun record all the way through, and I think even the singles have been pretty good. Not Birthday Party, that one's kind of I'm glad that's kind of taken not on the album. But Fingernails was a good B-side song that wasn't on the album, that was intended to be. And we also had singles like Action and Half Man Half God, which are really good. So I'm looking forward to new Don Broco, honestly. If it's in the same vein as Amazing Things, or at least something like Technology, that would be insane, honestly.
Yeah, true. I agree with what the funny man just said.
Very high emphasis on funny man, to be honest.
Okay.
I'll say the next band name in a funny tone. CHEVELLE with a new album.
Wow, that's crazy.
Possible new album. I don't know much else than that. I'm quite surprised that CHEVELLE have been very consistent in terms of every release besides the first one. I feel like Wonder What's Next was just such a big album in America that it just, I guess, kept the popularity going, because even something like Naritius was still, I guess, sort of big, and I guess enough people knew about it releasing. I'm looking forward to it though. CHEVELLE's another band that I don't think have a weak album necessarily. Maybe the first one's easily the standout, but that's just more because the band was trying to do a grunge record around that point. It didn't work, so they kind of created a sort of Deftones inspired sound, but that's still relatively different and has a unique mix to it, and it's going to be sick. Honestly, I would love to hear the era of Wonder What's Next again, something like that, but I kind of past that. But we're still getting some really good bangers nonetheless. I mean, I like La Gargola, which is more, I guess, it's got longer tracks, a little bit more proggy, a little bit more different from the usual stuff. Narutius was very different, and I want to see, I think that's what's making it strong. North Corridor, it's like the heaviest album they've released. The last 3 albums have just been great, so, and since they've been keeping it that way, I'm curious what the new album's going to sound like. It might be good. Have you got any thoughts on new Chevelle?
Chevelle, yeah, I mean, was it Noritius or however you say that?
I
That
think
was
it's
good,
Narutius,
so,
or it might be Naritius, I'm not sure.
yeah, but anyway, their newest album, we'll say that. That was a fun album, and hopefully they can keep that up.
Make a space album again?
I don't know if they need to do that,
Nah, go on, then do it one more time.
but I don't know.
I don't know. There's no doubt it'll be weak in my opinion. Chevelle's kind of got a sound that they have been doing different ideas with, but they've been doing it in a safe way. In a way that it doesn't like dampen the quality of their records. They haven't got a bad album, and that's good in my opinion. So yeah, as long as they keep it that way, Chevelle's gonna have a fun discography. Moving on to the potential Slipknot album, which has been told to come out around spring 2023, so early this year spring, and no mention of it since, until we got announcement that we might be getting it in 2024, which again I don't think will be happening, but I put it on the list because it might. So Look Outside Your Window is an unreleased project which had some of the original Slipknot members in. This one definitely had Corey Taylor in it for vocals. I can't remember who else.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
It could have been a different vocalist. You could have had
Oh yeah,
Anders.
no, Anders Colsafini just came back to do a few songs. Yeah, that's happened.
I can't remember who else is in. I think it's Sid Wilson, Jim Root, and might be Clown. I'm not sure. I don't know. Don't ask me.
Someone was there, didn't it?
Might be V-Man. I don't know. But 4 of the people from Slipknot made this project. I think it was being made around the time of All Hope Is Gone, which is part of the reason why Till We Die is on that as a kind of bonus song, because Till We Die actually is from basically it was written for Look Outside Your Window, which never existed, but seemingly how the band's gone independent, they've done the 7-album record deal. That might be what we get now, is that next, but we'll have to see. I honestly think that would be a cool thing to see. I am looking forward to hearing it, because I like the experimented Slipknot that feels like Slipknot, not just experimented for the sake of experimenting and losing that sound like the end so far sort of did. So it basically might be a better album than that.
Who knows?
But we'll have to see as we go into I See Stars. That was I forgot they were next.
Transition there, my friend.
That was accidental, because I didn't even know they were next on the list. I don't remember the order, but I See Stars, they've made an insane comeback with the singles. They released Anomaly and Drift, just 2 singles back to back, and it's not really as heavy, but then again Treehouse kind of isn't really heavy anyway, so they kind of been going for a softer approach, but I've been liking the vibe of this nonetheless. Those 2 songs are great. We had one called Are We Even, I think it's called. I haven't listened to that one, but I listened to Damage Done, the new single, and that one is just insanely fun. It's seeming to be a pretty fun new album I'm looking forward to from the band. I think there's discussion it might come out now, which will be insane. 8 years since Treehouse around this point now, so that will be a nice surprise. But what do you reckon? I love Treehouse to the point where I don't know if they can like top it with this new sound, but I still think this album will be really cool, even if they're kind of missing the heavier side to their discography now.
Yeah, I think to be fair, I think Treehouse, well, it wasn't, I don't know, I wouldn't really call it mega heavy anyway, so I think if they did want to go for a more like softer sound, I think it could definitely work.
Definitely for sure.
but
It's still
to be
lively.
fair, I haven't listened to any of their singles, so I really cannot say.
They've
But,
still got the
yeah.
lively and energy to it, so that's all that matters. But I'm liking it quite a bit. We have Slaughter to Prevail. I'm going to let you talk about this one a bit because I have not listened to Slaughter to Prevail.
Okay, so Slaughter to Veil, like a Russian
Deathcore.
bloody deathcore band. Well, I say Russian. I think they formed in Russia, but I mean, I know the guitarist is at least from England. I think it's a guitarist. So I don't. To be fair, it might just be that the lead singer, was it Alex Terrible, might be from Russia, and everyone else might be from like somewhere else. But yeah, obviously they're very much inspired by like early, was it Bring Me, and I think even a bit of like Slipknot stuff as well. Actually, since I heard that their
Well, the mask
second
aesthetic
album,
kind of reminds me of Slipknot. In a
yeah,
way.
I think their second album also had like a few like stylings of like the like early new metal era of Slipknot, like Iowa or Subtitle, that sort of stuff. But I haven't listened to the album yet, so I can't say much. But if Sort of Veil is coming out with a new album, that'll be cool. I think they released a single a while ago, Viking, I believe it was. That was cool. I listened to that at some point, like when it came out, I believe. That was fun. So having having them come back for another album is cool. Uh, yeah. I don't really know how to say other than that. I'm not good at this shit, man.
No, and there you have it. That's so now you know who Slaughter to Prevail is. Thanks to SoullessWindow. So next we have possible new talk
Pearl
about
Jam.
a new album from Pearl Jam, which will be
That's
cool.
crazy.
Pearl Jam is one of the last like OG grunge bands in the scene, I believe, still going strong, and it's insane. 10 is such a huge album and such a good one too, and I don't really know how they can continue on. I haven't really heard modern Pearl Jam, but I'm definitely eager to because again the iconic legacy of it, and I've not heard anything bad about it, so it might be pretty good. But yeah, honestly, new Pearl Jam will be insane, to be honest. I really am looking forward to hearing what good old Eddie Weezer is.
Eddie Weezer.
the lead singer, right?
Isn't it Eddie like Vedder or something?
Yeah, Eddie Weezer.
Okay.
So that'll be pretty good to see. I'm looking forward to that. Moving on to Bad Omens. So if you haven't heard of Bad Omens, that's called Living Under a Rock because more so you probably just don't really like metalcore, which to be fair, if you don't really listen to the genre, I don't blame you, but Bad Omens at the moment are pretty much like dominating and are slowly becoming the big face of new metal after Bring Me the Horizon decided to turn their nose at the genre. So Bad Omens had a huge popularity spike with their latest record that came out last year, The Death of Peace of Mind. I didn't even expect it to be that big, considering I thought it was just an alright album. I didn't think it's as good as everyone said it is, and I still don't. But just pretend that's what TikTok does. Pick up one song, and that one random song that wasn't a single is now gold certified, made a single, biggest song of theirs, almost getting closer to 200 million streams on Spotify, which is insane. Bad Omens might be having a new album coming out as well, so with all this popularity boost, I am interested how it might influence the new sound of theirs. I think they'll probably continue the softer sound, but to me, I might trigger some people. I've always viewed them as kind of like a sort of clone of Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah, I don't think that I don't think they've ever really gotten out of the shadow, as far as I know, of Bring Me. Like the sort of, I always felt like they had that more sound of the Umbrella album. I can't remember
That's the
what's called right
spirit.
now. That's the Spirit. Very good, thank you. Because I only know their album. Finding God Before God Finds Us.
Yeah, Finding God Before God Finds Me.
Yeah, I don't know that one, and that one's definitely sort of more. I mean, it's heavier than Thingy to be sure. That's the spirit, but it still sort of it definitely lives in the Bring Me style, which isn't bad necessarily, but yeah, you know.
That's what makes me surprised by their popularity, because normally if you get popular, it's because you found like a cool sound that people picked up and thought was insane, and they can profit on, and they can like kind of, not profit, but at the same time maybe in a way they can like find new music and feel like it's something that everyone needs to hear. Because it's kind of like with Lorna Shore's popularity. I mean, deathcore kind of died out, and then Will Ramos is sort of like Will Ramos as well as I would just say Lorna Shore, because it's not just one man. Lorna Shore and Slaughter Prevail have been like kind of reviving the genre a bit.
Yeah, they've sort of brought in like a renaissance to deathcore for sure. It is really cool to see because deathcore is fun, like, and you know.
Maybe Bad Omens will go deathcore. Maybe they might do the reverse
Can
order
you
of Bring Me
imagine
the
that?
Horizon. But no, I don't know. To me, Bad Omens have always just kind of sounded like Bring Me the Horizon. I mean, I'll go a bit more vague than just saying that. They definitely have. I think the new album they have, it feels more original to them, but it just feels like something. My first thought was, wow, this is something I could see Ollie Sykes thinking of. I'm not like shitting on it, because there are some literally the Death of Peace of Mind, the song is, I like that one. It's softer. There's not really much. There's less like heavy in the album, unless you listen to like Artificial Suicide if you want the heavier stuff. But a lot of the kind of screamy stuff's gone from that album. And the Death of Peace of Mind definitely shows how unique they can be. There's like loads of sound effects recorded just into the instrumentation. And I like it when bands play around with unique ideas like that, but I don't know. I still think, despite that, I don't know. It could be a cool album, but I don't think Bad Omens will change that overall shadow that they're behind of Bring Me the Horizon anytime soon. But yeah, we'll have to see. It might be good, it might be bad. We'll have to see. I think Bad Omens might honestly only go up from where they are, but again, time will tell. Next we have. Oh, sorry. What did you say?
I was gonna say I could definitely see him just having that album and then just like fading into obscurity.
I don't know, because it's such a huge popularity. They went from like a very small placement on like festivals to being almost close to the headline slot.
Yeah, you never know. I guess I just tend to be a little more critical of that sort of stuff, I guess.
It's sort of in the same vein as Sleep Token. I honestly don't see Bad Omens like dying off anytime soon now. Especially with Sleep Token, Bad Omens. I think we got them for a while. But
Yeah.
well, moving to Architects. This is a band that kind of rose in popularity a few years ago. I think it's the #1 UK album for all those that wish to exist, which is pretty good, but I feel like people do not like the departure of their old sound, the metalcore sound that they've been building up for quite some time. They kind of disappeared with, but Seeing Red is one of the best songs they've put out in a long time. I'm loving the blend of their. I guess to me it feels like a blend of a classic Symptoms of a Broken Spirit mixed with like all what's that, all gods have abandoned us. It kind of reminds me of mixing some of the best of their heavy metalcore era to mixing in some of the stuff that people don't like, but it's kind of resulted for the better. A lot of people have been praising New Architects, and I'm happy to see that, because metalcore has just been like on Architects like tail for crapping on for the last like couple of years because of the 2 albums we had recently. But I don't know. I don't know if Seeing Red's gonna be a standout song, but I hope it's the lead single and the album has that sound. I think Architects, if they go for this direction, will be a really good album, and I'd love to see more of it.
Yeah, if they do stuff that's a bit more heavy, that might be cool. But I don't know. Classic Symptoms was a fun album as well. So
It is a
they
fun
want to do something
album,
more in that
but we're in the
style, then I think that'd be
minority.
fun. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. Like even if you dislike Classic Symptoms because it's not what you imagine for Architects, it's still good. I still really enjoy Classic Symptoms. It's certainly not as bad as everyone's making out to be. I just think it's the people who hate them most are the people who like kind of the Lost Forever, Lost Together, I think it's Daybreaker, and All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us era. But what can you do? Well, bands always want to change, and the writing became more dependent on Sam Carter around that point because I think the guy who normally wrote for Architects, I think he passed away. I can't remember who it is in the band.
Yeah,
But
I think a few members of the band have passed away.
was it a few? Because I remember because the sound was still the same, but it was the latest person to pass away in Architects was when it changed because Sam Carter just took the entirety of control, I think, of writing.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't say for sure. I was under the impression it was like one or two people might have passed away during the band's time. It's weird.
Sorry, I'm just looking at the list, and I wrote Bad Omens twice.
No, wait, did he? No.
So I was about to read that.
Oh, yeah, you
again.
did.
Okay, so I deleted it on there. Next is Limp Bizkit. Limp Bizkit it's insane how much hate a band can get to then getting a lot of praise all of a sudden. Maybe they still have a huge hatred against them, but since
Yeah,
Still
for sure.
Sucks, I've just seen Limp Bizkit get more praise. It's almost like people like the comeback idea, and literally no joke, the demand for them for download was insane, and they literally had their own separate announcement video that Limp Bizkit's playing at download.
Yeah, it's cool. I think in general as well, it's just because new metal has like gone on a resurgence. You know, bands like Deftones, like really popping up recently.
Pardon them.
You know, like stuff like Slipknot. I mean, they've always been really big, obviously, but I just think this general rise of like new metal consumption has probably given Limp Bizkit like some people are like, oh yeah, Limp Bizkit are cool. Which yeah, Limp Bizkit is fun. I think people just take them way more seriously than like
You
they need
should.
to.
Yeah, because it's
Like,
it's a character meant to like kind of act like he's better than you. He's supposed to act like a douchebag. That's the character Fred Durst is playing, and maybe he is a bit like that back in the day. But I don't know. I feel like now Limp Bizkit's more just chill. I think they're more chill than they used to be.
yeah,
And
for sure.
Limp Bizkit's still great. I mean, I know people they've had some rough patches. I think Results May Vary is a terrible record. Maybe not the worst album. I wouldn't go far as say terrible, but the first three albums just sound so much better. But Still Sucks is like the first album that really brought back what people wanted. And since they announced, the only thing I know about a new album from them is they said that you're not going to have to wait a decade for a new album this time. So I think they're already mentioning they're working on this new album. And I'm looking forward to seeing new Limp Bizkit. Still Sucks. This was like my first proper Limp Bizkit sound album went into. I was just thought, do you know what? I'll just listen to Limp Bizkit. It could be shit, but then I listened to Still Sucks. And for a first Limp Bizkit album, it's actually pretty good. And I feel like if you like that sound, just listen to $3 Bill, listen to Significant Other, and even Shot the Starfish and Hot the Flavored Water. Limp Bizkit have got some great albums, and I feel they get way too much hate. And I feel like most people dislike them because of Fred Durst rather than because of the ideas. Was it Wes Borland, right?
West Borland.
Yeah, he's so fucking good. Like,
he is.
Did he come back for Still Sucks?
Yeah, I think he's been in every album since that EP, was it Unquestionable Truth?
Mm.
He's been in everything like post that as well. I think it was only that one album, as well, May Vary, which didn't have them, as far as I know.
Well, it's like literally the components
But
are
he
there.
was,
Sorry.
yeah, he was definitely in Still Sucks. I can tell you that.
It literally, you have like Limp Bizkit's pretty much got like kind of their original sound coming back, and while the new album is not popular, people will still check it out. But yeah, Limp Bizkit, overhated band. I think this new album might be good. To be honest, it could be a really shit album next, but I'm still looking forward
Yeah,
to
you never
seeing
know.
it. You just have to see what the answer is basically. But moving on from Limp Bizkit, we're on the last three now. We've got Bullet for My Valentine.
No, we gotta talk about Bad Omens.
Yeah, it's all about Bad Omens again. Bullet for My Valentine, I mentioned them earlier. Well, I didn't mention them, but I meant to mention them. When I was talking about bands, they kind of went softer. They were in like the more, I guess, more screamy vein. This is one of the bands that kind of did a good balance of cleans and uncleans, especially for albums like The Poison and what's the album? Fever. Like literally, those albums managed it. And I think Scream Aim Fire as well. I'm hoping that's the album name because my head is literally. I gotta check now. I know there's a song called it, and if I just said that, this will probably be in the video because I cannot be asked to edit this.
Embarrasses himself on a video. No, still need to send it.
Well, me embarrass myself. Who would have thought I've done that? I've had some horrible takes which a lot of people disagree with, so I don't really care. But please be right. Please be right. Scream Aim Fire. Yes, I was right. Scream Aim Fire. Like kind of that sound of their earlier stuff is gone, and since Venom, no, Temper Temper was kind of this downward spiral for the band, and Venom did have some good ideas, but it didn't help that. And then Gravity is like the worst thing they've ever released. It is pretty bad, but the self-titled album shows that they have it in them, and if they do something like the self-titled album, I will love it, because Bullet for My Valentine self-titled was just such a nice surprise. They even had like 5 bonus songs for the deluxe. That was way too much they needed to do, but they did anyway. Are you looking forward to new Bullet for My Valentine if they do a new album next year?
Let me think. Yeah, no, I think it will be. It can be fun. It could be fun. Fucking hell, I can't even speak.
Just don't do Gravity again, and please don't cover again, because the last cover was Radioactive by Imagine Dragons. Let's just Jesus Christ, let's just forget that. So we're moving on to one of the most influential new metal bands of all time, TRAPT.
Is that right?
With their new album that was announced 100% coming out 2023, and all of a sudden changed its mind and then coming out next year. We have TRAPT The Fall, which is a very ironic name for the band, noticing how that's just been there. And basically, the album title summarizes the band's career, because they've pretty much just fallen ever since the first album. But
no one cares about that.
TRAPT sucks. Even if you like Headstrong, that's like one song, and I feel like they've just been kind of doing that trick since. And Shadow Work is one of the worst albums to exist, and it is so bad that you cannot get the CD unless you pay. I think you have to pay a lot of money to get it now, because they don't even have it on store. They promote the album Shadow Work, but you can't even buy the album.
Yeah.
That's how bad it's gone. So TRAPT is a band that's pretty much lost their popularity. They went from playing not arenas, I don't think, but they've been playing like kind of normal venues. They might have played arenas at the start of the peak of their career, basically at the start, but now they're just literally playing pubs in America. So TRAPT, I don't think will ever kind of. I don't ever see them getting out of this rut, and I think they're just there for the long term. Normally, there's a chance a band might reach popularity again, but Chris Taylor Brown is just one of the worst people in the metal scene. So let's just kind of try to forget TRAPT exists. But I will review TRAPT's new album when it comes out.
No, dude.
in a very non-biased fashion. And finally, we have a potential one by Biffy Clyro. This one I don't think I heard anything about, but the band has been quite silent, so I thought I'd put him here. Biffy Clyro is one of the best metal bands of all time.
Metal bands.
Yeah. Empire State
I don't know.
Bastard, that was like the best Biffy Clyro album ever. So Biffy Clyro
Yeah.
have just been kind of... They've been... Honestly, the last two albums are great. I know that they did it all in one like recording, but Myth of the Happily Ever After, despite being kind of the sister album to the main project, is literally the best album they've ever released. And I've listened to every album, and I can say that happily. I really enjoy Biffy Clyro's latest stuff. Ellipse, no. Ellipsis is kind of like the worst album they've heard, but they've really... I think A Celebration of Endings and A Myth of Happily Ever After are amazing. I would love to see just some more songs like Cop Syrup and I guess Denier, just kind of like the more upbeat, bouncy, just fun songs like the Myth of Happily Ever After had. But yeah, what would you look for? What's the thing you really want to see in the new Biffy Clyro album?
What I'd want to see, I don't know. I guess like, definitely, I think they could benefit from doing something a bit more like fun and bouncy and a bit heavier, like they did with was it Myth of Happily Ever After? Oh, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think that would be fun, but I think it would also be cool if, or I'd also probably enjoy it if they did something more similar to like the album before that, whatever that was
A
called.
Celebration of Endings.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure. I mean, Biffy, as far as I know, I've listened to like what 4 albums at this point, so I feel like a good idea. They've had a lot of good stuff, so I don't really doubt that they'll bring out something good, whether the next album will be.
They might even do a return to their older stuff next time. Maybe something on the... Maybe like... I don't think... Maybe like a modernized puzzle or something. Or maybe something similar to...
Oh, that would be
Any
fun.
Revelation. I would like to see
That
some
would.
of that. Just tracks like... your was it Get Fucked Stud or Semi-Mental. I'd love to see stuff like that again. But
Yeah, for sure.
only time will tell. And fucking hell, it's been over an hour. Probably an hour and 50 minutes. This is like... Well, then again, podcasts are even longer than this, but we have done the discussion of the year. I don't know how many podcasts I even want consider doing, because I don't have ideas for other stuff. But maybe if something comes up, maybe if there's like a album we really want to talk about, we might make it into a podcast. I feel if there's just something that maybe we might, but otherwise, I don't know. Maybe this would be like an annual thing. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, no,
how
that'd be
it
fun.
goes. But I was thinking if there's a really good album that both of us are huge fans of, the new album, talk about, maybe a small like 15-20 minute discussion. I don't know, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think.
Because reviews will get fucking boring constantly, and I know everyone some people will happily do reviews, and even I might get up, but I can see it being boring. So maybe you might see some maybe you might see some podcasts instead of some reviews. We'll have to see. But knowing how most of the stuff that we've got so far, you haven't even listened. You don't even know half the bands. I think I'll probably just do normal reviews on those ones.
Yeah.
There's stuff on the list here, possibly. So we'll have to see. But there you go. That is the albums we're looking forward to, especially Trapped next year.
Yeah, I don't know about that. You can catch me missing that completely.
Nah, come on, you'll love it.
No, I'm not listening to Traps.
Fair enough. And yeah, that's it. So this is gonna be a fun video to edit, and I have to get this edited by, I assume, the 31st, unless I do this at the start of the year. But since there's music coming out at the start of the year, no thank you. Thanks for watching, and yeah. 2024.
Bye-bye.
Say goodbye to this year. This year has been interesting for music, but 2024 is much better because why? Well, because we have the one best band of all time releasing music. Trapped. See ya.